Hi and welcome. My name is Paul Sonneveld and I'm one of the product owners here at Merchant Spring. In this module, I'm going to take you through our FBA inventory module and show you how to use it for your business and your clients. Let's have a look. The inventory module lives under the My Channels, and it's important to note that it's currently available for Amazon 3P sellers globally. Not to be confused with our inventory health module that exists for Amazon vendors. We're talking FBA inventory management for Amazon 3P sellers. This functionality is available for all marketplaces globally. Let's have a closer look. So as I mentioned before, it lives under the My Channel section here. And as you scroll down here under operations, you'll find that there is a new report here called FBA inventory. It's currently in beta, but probably by the time you see this beta tag will have disappeared. And let me just take you through what this functionality is intended to do. Of course, we start off with a summary here in the top left. That summary really tells you what is the total number of units that you currently have inside Amazon's warehouses, inside FBA, and it breaks it down by the age of that inventory. In other words, how long has that inventory been in the warehouse? How much it is fairly new inventory versus how much has actually been there for a long time. And this is good information to know because Amazon, depending on the geography, will charge you differently depending on the age of the inventory. You'll also have visibility of inventory in reserve and inventory that is on the way, inbound, that might be still on the truck and coming to Amazon, or Amazon is in the process of receiving and processing that inventory. We'll also tell you up here how many products are currently out of stock. And here, as you can see in this demo environment, I have 0 out of stock, and how many products we recommend for you to replenish. Now, let's first have a quick look at the bottom table before we go back to the top right here. So the table below will show you by ASIN and SKU the current inventory status. We'll give you a couple of indicators. We'll tell you what the storage type is. And this is Amazon telling us what storage type they've applied to your particular ASIN and SKU. This is important because we see many instances where Amazon has incorrectly classified the storage type for your SKU. And as a result, you may be incurring substantially higher storage fees than you should. So it's always worth checking whether the storage type matches your understanding of what it should be. Secondly, as we go along here, we are breaking down the inventory for your SKU. And as you can see, we're breaking that down between the available quantity, so what's available for sale right now. Amazon is literally in a position to ship that. What inventory is reserved? Typically inventory that's already been processed by Amazon, but not yet available for picking. So it may take a couple of days, but often in many countries, this inventory is already available for sale. What inventory is inbound and what's currently unfulfillable? What products are damaged or maybe returned by customers and not fit for resale. These 4 combined make up your total inventory. And on that basis, we also work out your days cover calculation. Now, 2 important things to note is that for this particular calculation, we do include inbound. We don't do that in other parts of the application, but from a planning point of view, we want to consider inbound inventory because we don't want to order more inventory if you already have inventory on the way. The second thing I wanted to point out, and this is not a real-time report. So Amazon provides us with this data on a weekly basis. So it typically gets updated on the weekend. So on Mondays, typically represents the most accurate snapshot of this information. If Amazon does update this frequency of this report from weekly to daily, we will sure to let you know. So that gives us an understanding of the current inventory levels. And the other fields that we've built in here is really storage volume and estimated monthly storage cost. That just gives you a sense of how much space you're taking up in Amazon's warehouse and what Amazon is likely to charge you for it. It gives you a sense of if you feel like your storage fees are getting out of control, this is a great area to dig into. Okay, where can I potentially save some storage costs? Where do I have to address this particular issue? So that really tells you what's happening right now. Then we get into the more interesting part of the conversation, which is what products do we want to replenish? And if so, what is the recommended replenishment forecast? And as you can see, if I scroll here towards the right, you can see some of these numbers starting to appear. Now, obviously we need a couple of inputs. And this is where this top right-hand screen is really, really useful, because we need to tell the system our preferences around replenishment. And there's a couple of areas here. The first one probably to note is the days cover target. And you can see detailed definitions for each of these as you hover over the tooltip. But really the days cover target is, what do you aspire the target to be when you put inventory into Amazon's warehouse? What are you working towards the target at the point that inventory is being received? Order lead time. How long does it take for inventory to get from your warehouse, or in fact, even more accurately, from the day you generate the replenishment order inside Amazon to the inventory actually arriving at Amazon's warehouse? How long is that likely to take? Is this inventory coming locally and therefore it's a shorter amount of time, or is the inventory coming from overseas and actually the lead time is substantially longer? So you have the ability to overwrite these with the preferences that work for you or your client. Thirdly, we need to tell, what demand signal do we want to use? What is the basis for which we want to forecast future demand so we can work out how much stock we need? Of course, the past can be a good indicator, and we have different signals available for you here. So we have unit sales based on the last 7 days, the last 30 days, the last 60, and the last 90 days. Now, you can either just pick one of those, or you can create a blended weighting across these. So as you can see here, what I've done is I've just allocated 25% across each of them. And really what that means is we are creating a blended demand signal that takes a little bit of the short term, a little bit of the medium term, a little bit of the long term. Of course, if you want to just focus on, let's say, in the last 7 days, because your rate of sale has really stepped up for reason, and you think it's going to be maintained, then you can put 100% weighting against that particular demand signal and zero out the others. So once we've done that, there is one final input here, which is the minimum restock when you're out of stock. This is really asking you the question, in simple terms, if a product is out of stock and actually there is no recent demand signal, so we don't know what it's been selling at, either because we're dealing with a long-term out of stock, or maybe it's completely new SKU. What is the replenishment inventory or replenishment units that you want to put into the system? We have to start with something. We have to start with an opening order. What would you like that order to be? Now, what our system does is we take all of those inputs. As you can see here, we will show you different demand signals, including the weighted average across those four based on the weightings you've put in. And from there, alongside with the current inventory, the order lead time, and the days cover target, we determine how many units you should replenish. So this is your reorder quantity based on how long it takes, what you have, and how much we expect you to sell, during the time that it takes for the inventory to arrive at the DC, or the warehouse, I should say. You can see we have two metrics here. We determine that for you in terms of units, but also in terms of cases. We appreciate that many of you and your clients do not think about units when you're shipping things to another warehouse, but you're thinking about cases, or in some instances even pallets. So what we allow you to do is maintain a configuration that says how many units per case does apply for a particular SKU, and then we convert that to cases. So 1,200 units in this instance converts to 83 cases. And of course, it's important to note that we round up. Okay, we don't want to miss units, so we always round up to the nearest case in that particular instance. So as you can see, we now have, based on these algorithms and the parameters we've selected here, we have 10 products that require replenishments, and they correspond with these 10 that you can see here. Now, in order to actually create this shipment for your convenience, we've just created a button here, which will take you straight into Seller Central in your country and straight to the page where you can create a shipment for that particular SKU, just saving you a couple of steps along the way. Last but not least, we are adding to this functionality. So you may well find there's additional fields available here, such as, what is the date that I'm likely to run out of stock and the like. If you're not seeing the field that you're looking for, make sure you have a look at these columns as well. And last but not least, in case you're wondering, how do we configure this units per case? That's where these two buttons come in. If you're a regular Merchant Spring user, you are used to this framework of downloading a template and uploading it. In this instance, if I can just show you the particular template, just switching here to a Google Sheet, the template is really straightforward. It has column A, seller SKU, column B, units per case. Make sure you do not change these headers. We're looking for the header specifically. So if you change the header, the file will fail. And make sure the SKU codes match the SKUs that we have in the system. And then we're just looking for a number which represents the units per case. Save it, upload it, and you'll find that we instantly update that units per case configuration that you see in here. All right, I hope you found that useful, and I really hope this is another great time saver for you as you manage the inventory for your business and for your clients. Of course, I always look forward to feedback, so get in touch if you've got useful suggestions or enhancements you'd like to see. All right, thank you so much for tuning in.